Talk about it right now. We are AT&T. I'm part of your Cowboys Nation. All I've heard for the last 5 weeks is we won Dallas. All you haters, you come down to me. You fuel the fire because I want it.
What is up? Welcome to a special edition of Tag Nation. It's your boy Mike Tag. I've got a very special guest coming on the show, but first I want to make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you didn't already. Hit that like button. Make sure you share it. Spread the word. The season's starting. We got to get hyped. We got to get ready. You know how it goes. So I've got a great guest, and you guys know that I love the NFL. I love the history of the game. And my brother collects a lot of memorabilia. You can see the cave in the background. It runs in the family. And he came across this signed football. It was the 60. We thought it was the 68 Colts, but it was definitely early on because you can see Johnny Unitas' signature. You see Earl Merle. And then in the upper above Johnny Unitas, you see Tommy Davis. And we were trying to authenticate the ball and find it. So my brother searched, the internet, searched everywhere to try and find Tommy Davis. Now, it's a common name, so he had a lot of work he had to do, but he was able to find out that Tommy Davis was drafted by the Colts in 1968. He came out of Tennessee State, and he played on the 1968 Colts team that went to the Super Bowl against Joe Namath in the New York Jets. So he was telling great stories. I said, man, we got to have you on the cave. We got to get you on the show. So without any further ado, I just want to welcome Mr. Tommy Davis to the show. Took us a little while, took a little work, but we got this audio stuff fixed. How you doing, sir?
That's all we can do.
Yep. No.
Moving slowly, but still moving.
So anyway, I do appreciate you jumping on the show and looking forward to the conversation. So, really to get started, you're drafted obviously in the 8th round by the Baltimore Colts, 1968, correct?
Yes, 68.
How was it going from a college to the professionals, and especially that Baltimore Colts team that was, they're a win now team, which showed they went to the Super Bowl in your rookie season. How was that transition from college to pro?
Well, to be honest, I would have to have been 6'9", 400 pounds in order to break in on that defense when I got there. We had Bubba, Billy Ray, Fred Miller, Roy Hilton, all that group there. So it was pretty much impossible for me to break in because they were set on what they were going to do and how they were going to do it. So, but Coach Shula, when I got there, I weighed in at 315. Coach Shula said, Tommy, you got 2 weeks to get down to 250. In 2 weeks, I weighed 245. I didn't eat anything. I practiced twice a day, just drank water, and I was losing so much weight. Coach Shula come up to me and said, look, you got to go to the cafeteria and eat. I was 245. That's the lowest I ever been. I think I weighed that when I was born. But so I'll never see that again. But it would have been impossible for me to break in. But Coach Shula kept me around. He said, look, we're going to send you down to Harrisburg Capital Coach. And I played there on the team. I drive down twice a week and come back and practice with the coach and go back down on Saturday and play the game on a Saturday night. And the two guys that rode down with me was Jimmy Duncan, Speedy Duncan. He was the coach there. He had him there, and Doug Goodwin. So we rode down and played on the weekends and came back and practiced. But
wow.
It was a good experience. Made a lot of good friends, and we had some good times. It's very memorable.
Yeah, and the good thing is, it was interesting. I talked to offensive lineman for the Raiders, last name Lawrence. His name's God has always escapes me. But we were talking about, because I'm a big Cowboys fan, we were talking about Ed Too Tall Jones. And
right.
in that, and what he was saying in that time, I believe it was Henry Lawrence, the players had to weigh under a certain weight. And so, like, Too Tall Jones, if he would have been able to play at his natural weight, which is probably 320, something like that, he would have been unstoppable. But they used to fine you per pound if you were overweight. And he said his first week at camp with the Raiders, he was in his room crying, called his mom, said, "I want to go home. I'm done with this. I can't take it no more." So it was a different era. Where now they want you to be, bigger, stronger. The NFL now, you don't see any linemen under 300 pounds.
No. Like I say, we had a weigh-in. I think it was every Friday, Thursday, Friday. We had a weigh-in, and sometime I would be 5 pounds overweight, and Mackie would be overweight. And what we would do, we'd be up all night, and we drank beer. We drank beer all night long, maybe a case or whatever, and when you're urinating all night, and when you got on those scales, for some reason you dropped that 5 or 10 pounds or whatever it was. But then the next week you had to be careful because you would double up if you had to watch what you eat the next week.
Wow.
But we all made our way in pretty much. I never was fine, and Mackie was never fine. Sometimes he'd get on the scale with one foot, and Coach would look and said, "Put that other foot out. It's good right there." It wouldn't mess with Big Mac. Mac said, I think Mac was a little over, but he never did get fine.
No,
it was some good times.
That's funny. So, really want to talk about the 68. The Super Bowl III, your 68 Colts go against the Jets. It was one of those turning points in NFL history. So it was probably one of the most significant Super Bowls in history. And you guys, were the powerhouse of the NFL, and the AFL never really got that respect. So, looking at the season, you guys were 13-1. You steamrolled through the year. Seemed like you were unstoppable. In the playoffs, you took care of the Vikings, and then you got to avenge your only loss of the season against the Browns where you shut them out, and then you're going to the Super Bowl. How was that season? I mean, did you guys just feel you were just head and shoulders above everyone else? Everything was kind of rolling. Your defense was ferocious, and I think they averaged only 7 points a game given up that year.
Right. It was... We worked hard. Coach Shula made us enjoy playing football. He made us think that we had never done enough. And it was always, we were never tired. The only thing we disliked was the gases. That's why we had to run 4 sets of fours 50 yards across the field. Yeah. And we felt as though we had never done enough. But all that week before we played the Jets, Joe Namath said a lot of stuff that had everyone angry. Bubba and everybody, we just beating up on each other and wasn't thinking about, what we supposed to be doing. We just trying to get to him. They just want to get to Joe Namath and kill him. We even had Coach Shula angry that week.
So, talking about Joe Namath, there was one of the things. So leading up to the Super Bowl, the famous guarantee. So he's at the poolside in Miami. They said that he was upset with a comment that Norm Van Brocklin said that this is going to be Joe Namath's first professional game, professional football game, because now they're actually playing in the NFL, so an NFL team. And so he guaranteed that victory. So I guess my question is, did you guys, did it get you, obviously it got you angry. Did you take it serious or did, what was your feelings on that when you hear that go all through the media? Because it was obviously a big story.
I think we took it too seriously because usually when you play football, you do your job. I have a certain job to do. Bubba has, Billy Ray, we all have a certain job to do. And that's how we became a good team, because everybody did their job. But for some reason, all that week, everyone was angry, and because the stuff that Joe had said. And like I said, we were beating up on one another, and instead of thinking about what we had to do, we were just trying to get away and get to him, just go straight to him. And that way, Bub would get turned out, and Billy Ray would get cut underneath. But my situation, I had seen this movie, Bullet, with Steve McQueen, and the night before we had to leave to go, I wrecked my car over there off of Cold Spring Lane. So Coach Shula told me to just sit there for now. I'd put a scar on my right leg. That got a little cut on my right leg. But we weren't thinking about our assignment, what we were supposed to do. We just wanted to go in there and try to beat up on him, and we got blocked. That's all it was. Got blocked.
So in a way, what he did, I mean, whether he meant to or not, he got in your head and he beat you mentally, and it took you off your game. And that was probably the one way that they can win, because they didn't have the man for man. They couldn't keep up with you.
No, wouldn't be able to stay with us man to man. We were too powerful at that time. We were running backs, Tom Maddox, John Mackey, Johnny U was on point, and we were just a strong team at that time.
And an interesting story on that season. So Johnny Unitas got hurt in preseason. So you go to Earl Merle. He pretty much leads you, 13-1, gets you through the playoffs, and then you're in that Super Bowl and you're down 7-0 at halftime, and they made the change. Was it panic? Was it panic but were you guys panicking at halftime? Like, man, what, shell shocked? Trying to think of the adjective that would best fit it, because you were 21-point favorites, right? Everyone said you guys were going to blow them out, and now you're down, but you're really only down 7. So it's not like you're blown out, one score and you're back in. So what was the feeling at halftime, and then making that change to Unitas? Do you think, because I know he was rusty, he didn't play his best game in the second half, do you think that hurt you at all?
No, I don't think it hurt us. We knew we shouldn't have lost that game. We couldn't be beaten, but like I say, on any given Sunday or any given day, anyone can be beaten. But like I say, we just overthought our assignments and stuff, and didn't do what we were supposed to do. But it wasn't any panic. Coach Shula was just calm and everything. He said, look, we know we're supposed to be in this ball game. We should be doing much better than what we're doing. But he just made the change. He said, well, let's make a change and let's see what happens.
Try and get a little spark. I mean, Johnny Unitas is a Hall of Fame quarterback. I mean, it's hard not to. Right. So I understand it. But did Shula? There was a book that I read years ago. It was called Collision of Wills. I don't know if you ever read it.
I've never read that.
It was
the first time hearing that.
It was about your era and with the Colts, and what they talked about in there was there was a lot of animosity between Johnny Unitas and Coach Shula. Was that something that you guys saw? Did you see that on the field? Did you see any conflict between the two of them?
If they had any animosity, it had to be behind closed doors, because nothing like that ever taking place in my eyesight. It was everything was just, we were a team. We had jokes in the locker room. Roy Hilton always having jokes, and it was a fun time. No, it wasn't any animosity. If it were, then it had to be behind closed doors. I never saw anything.
Okay,
like that.
Yeah. No, because I had said Weeb Eubank was the coach, right? And I think he was the coach of the Jets when you guys played him. And he was the coach of the Colts, before Shula. And I guess they fired Eubanks, replaced him with Shula. And then there was some tampering charges and, things like that. And I think the Colts had to give up a first-round pick later on. So it was just interesting. But I guess from what they said, obviously I wasn't there, so I don't know. And sometimes it could be media-driven, but sometimes, like you said, I think Shula, I remember him a lot with the Dolphins. I grew up in South Florida, so obviously he was a legendary coach. I know him a lot with, more with the Miami Dolphins, but he always seemed very stoic, very, just seemed like the perfect coach to play for. So again, you just on Shula and what he maybe meant to your career early on. How was playing for Coach Shula?
Like I said earlier, he made you enjoy the game. He always made us feel as though we hadn't done enough. I remember when I first got there, the first week of practice, and we were stretching on the field, go through a stretch and everything. Coach Shula walked up and stood up and said, "All right, Tommy, you look like you've been around here for a while." It's just I've always had good football coaching during high school and college, but it all started at home with mom and dad. Got good training in there, and it just carried on over. But at times, I do miss it, but I don't miss it that much. But
you might miss playing today, and these paychecks these guys are getting now. It's pretty unbelievable, right?
Well, if we were playing today, if I were playing today, I wouldn't be in the game over 5 minutes because when we were taught football, we had forearms. We used forearms. You know, you couldn't hit anyone. You can't hardly touch anyone out there right now. It's all hand. But back then, we were throwing forearms. People getting their teeth knocked out, and helmets were being cracked and everything. But it's a different breed, but they get tough at the fourth quarter. I think in the fourth quarter, everybody started playing a little harder now. But like I said, they're so large now, it's a good thing they're not hitting one another like we hit each other.
Yeah, it was ruthless. You know, I was in the 80s, 90s, and it was even more ruthless in the 60s and 70s. And that's the thing that I always like. I love on my show, and I've had Larry Cole on and interviewing different football players. I had Rod Martin on, who played with the Raiders in the late 70s and 80s, and he shared the same mentality, the same way. I mean, he said he never picked anyone up off the ground. He never would shake their hands after the game. It was just your mindset was just different. You were built different back then. Where now it's really more of a business mentality for these players.
And there's a lot of energy going on. If I had the energy these guys have right now, I take once three plays an hour, we go to that bench and sit down. But we give somebody a pat on the back. But these guys are really high energy. That's right.
Yeah. So in any favorite teammate, I know you played with the Colts, and then you did go down to semi-pro, and then I think you came back in 73 and played with the Chargers. Got reunited with Johnny Unitas, Dwayne Thomas. One of my favorite, who I never got to see play in person, but Deacon Jones. I just used to love the Deacon Jones stories and just the highlights of him and just how he just was ferocious on the defensive line. I mean, any cool stories or anything you could share on some of your the players that you've got to play with?
We know Claude Humphrey wasn't the roommate there. We were the roommates at Tennessee State in the same room, 305. Clement Hall for the 4 years there. But sort of missed the old boy there. I tell you, he's going on. But we had a scrimmage when I was out at the Chargers in 73. And Deacon, they said, go in and get Deacon, So I'd never played the strong side end. I've always played the right tackle over the left guard and the right end over the left tackle. And Deacon came up to me and said, okay, big fella, it take a special person to play this strong side in. I said, okay. So I got in, and first play, quarterback handed off to the back. I went in, got a rhythm block, hit the back, took him down. Next play, went in, pressured the quarterback. He wasn't able to get the pass off. Deacon came up and said, okay, big fella, I got you. He got right on back in. I think he might have been afraid his jaw might have been on the line, so he got might have right.
Yeah.
And Coy Baker, and I tell you, Lionel Aldridge, I have some good times out there, too.
Yeah.
I tell you, Johnny, he was coming down to the end of the line there. His arm wasn't as strong as it was before. And Dan Fouts, when he first got out there, he couldn't break a window pane. He couldn't throw 20 yards. And look, after he got used to everything, I mean, he was zinging that ball down the field.
Oh yeah, they had the Air Coryell, the unbelievable offense. So Johnny Unitas says that you got to play with him on two different teams. Obviously, the Chargers. It was kind of near the end of his career. I mean, obviously a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the game. I mean, how was his leadership? Was he a vocal leader? Was he kind of lead by example? You see some of these guys like Peyton Manning, Tom Brady in today's era. How would you characterize what Johnny Unitas was as a leader to your team?
He would joke around and carry on, but it was business when he got in the hole. And it's from his action. We all worked hard. Mm-hmm. Johnny worked hard even after practice. You may have heard the stories that even I wasn't there when Raymond Berry was there.
Yeah,
they used to come off and be out there after everyone is gone and working on certain things that they need to work on. But what really I liked about Coach Shula, what really made me enjoy playing football, you had an hour and a half practice. You had 10 minutes. You practice for an hour. The total practice would last 1 hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
we practiced, and then we had a 10-minute special period. So we practiced 1 hour and 20 minutes. And I don't care how practice went. I don't care if things wasn't going right or whatever. Hour and a half, you was off the field.
Yeah.
You're off the field, you in, you getting some soda or whatever, and then you 3:30 the practice is over, and then we partying the rest of the day, all during the night and everything. So it was really some good times.
But you worked hard that hour and a half, I'm sure.
You worked hard. Everything was boom, boom. It wasn't any standing around. If you're standing around, you're killing the grass. But we were just steady moving, and it was a workout. That's just like playing soccer. You know, you had to be in shape to play soccer. You're running all the time.
Yeah, I wrestled in high school, and that's what it was funny you say that. So my coach said the same thing, that we only would practice. It was maybe an hour and 20 minutes, and he said any longer you're just wasting your time. He said if you're working hard and you're putting that hour and a half in, he said you don't need no more. And we were always one of the most well-conditioned wrestling teams in South Florida. I mean, we might have lost some, but no one beat us because we were tired.
Right. See, but when we got to the Chargers, that was the worst thing. We was out there. We had to be at the stadium at 9, and we come off the field at 5.
Wow.
Anything over 2 hours is a waste of time. You waste. But I think that's what happened to us there. We were out there a whole day. It was like a regular job. Man, you 9 to 5.
That's too much. So, do you follow the game today? Are you still a Colts fan, or I know they moved and did that affect you at all when they moved in the 80s, or were you far kind of past that? It didn't, or did it hurt you in any way? The history kind of left.
People complain about where they left. They're thieves in the night.
They were thieves in the night. I remember that with the Mayflower trucks.
And it was snowing and everything too. But, I was sort of disappointed they checked out, but I like the Ravens. I like people that play good defense. And the Cowboys are playing good defense now, and the Ravens, and Cardinals playing good defense. Tampa Bay playing good defense. LA.
There's still some good defense, right? I mean, it's not what it was, but you still got those guys. I don't know. You see him in my cave, Micah Parsons. I don't know how much you follow, today's game, but he's one of my favorite players, and I mean he's brought a change to our defense. And Ray Lewis, I was a Miami Hurricane. I grew up in South Florida, so huge Ray Lewis fan. If you're Baltimore Ravens, obviously everyone knows about Ray Lewis, but that you still have those. It's just a little. It seems like the officials and just the way the game is, they're not letting these guys play that physical style of football.
No. They want to keep you healthy, I guess. But like Coach Shula did the same thing. We had thump drill. We didn't do a lot of hitting during the week. Mm-hmm. He wants you to be ready to play on Sunday. So it was mostly just drills and the 7-on-7 and working on the 1-on-1s, our pass rushing stuff. Pretty much thump drill. There wasn't a whole lot of hitting. So
yeah.
You wanted to be ready to go on Sunday, so I guess that's a good thing too. But at Tennessee State now, when I was there, we practiced 3 times a week during school sometimes, even 4 when we had the big games. But I guess after we did think you really don't need all that in order to play football. If you get yourself in condition and keep yourself in condition during the season, you won't have any trouble.
No.
Go out and enjoy the game. Have fun.
Absolutely. So you grew up in Texas?
Yes, I was born in East Texas down in St. Augustine, Texas.
Okay.
Yes, and I was brought up in Lufkin, Texas. We went to Dunbar High, and we went to played Baytown and state champs and stuff. But I had a blood clot. My teammate, Floyd Woodson, stepped on the back of my heel, and I had a blood clot. So I had to be in the hospital for 6 weeks. And they blamed me for losing the game because Baytown beat us in the state championship down there.
What's going on with you in these the Super Bowl? You getting an accident? You get in high school? You get in someone steps out. What's going on? Every time there's a big game, you're missing out.
I thought about that. Like it looked like I was trying to rat out or something. Come to jail. You come to think about that. That's right. But I was in the hospital 6 weeks. my legs jacked up in the air, and my right leg is swollen up out here like that. And the doctors didn't know what was going on. They took me in to give me an operation. He said, "You feel that? You feel that?" I said, "Yeah." And they had this big old long needle about 6 inches long. They were trying to shoot that in my leg to death. And I said, the doctor said, "You feel that?" And I said, "No." And he stuck it in there again and he hit it. "Do you feel that?" I said, "No, I don't feel it." I was saying, "Yeah, I feel it." But when you stuck it in the second time, I said, "No, I don't feel that." So I was wide awake when they were cutting my leg, gushing that blood out my right leg.
Oh my God! Yeah, well,
That was pain.
the price you pay. Do you live? Do you still live in Texas now, or no?
Yeah, I'm living in Texas down here in Bryan, College Station. I'm down here in Aggie Land.
Oh, well, I tell you what, you're going to get me started. You know, my Miami Hurricanes are coming down to A&M on the 17th. You know, I'm going to I wanted to go so bad, but I couldn't make the trip, but I'm actually going to the Cowboys Tampa Bay game, and then week 2 I'm going, they play Cincinnati. But are you an Aggie fan?
I'm an Aggie fan.
So what is your prediction? Now we get a little college football out of you. Now I can get you on. We talk about this game for a minute.
I tell you. Well, the way things are looking right now, I haven't been able to go out and see them practice. I just see them on the news when they show them what they're doing out there. But the way things are going right now, and the way the head coach be working with them, I think they're going to do fairly well. They got some good players in and 3 good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I think the LSU quarterback transferred to
Brad Johnson's son. He transferred.
Yes.
We're trying to figure out who's going to be the starter. Do you got any inside information that you could share that I can bring down to my boys at the U?
None whatsoever. I think maybe the fella that hurt his leg, I can't think his name right offhand. You know, he got his leg got hurt last year, and I think he might be the one because he took to the Lobos. You know, he went to his high school, played for the Lobos up there.
Yeah,
and we played. But I think he should. I don't know how well they doing out there right now, but the coach will let us know what the deal is. But I'm thinking he should come back if he's in good shape. He should come back and do the do because he went out on a bad note when he got himself hurt there. So.
Yeah. Well, I know like Max Johnson, he's the one who trains from LSU. His father's Brad Johnson, Super Bowl quarterback for the Bucs. So he's got a pedigree, and he's leaving LSU. I always thought maybe he's got some sort of agreement behind closed doors that you transfer here, you're going to be the starter. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. It's going to be a tough game. Miami's going to have their hands full. Playing in that stadium, that's a bucket list stadium for me. I'm sure you've been to a game. Does it live up to the hype of everything that you hear about?
You can't hear yourself think. I don't know. You can't hear at 12 man or something.
Yeah,
it's real noisy.
Wow, that's awesome. So living in Texas, so do you follow the Cowboys much?
I follow the Cowboys. I watch them. What I have to do now, I have to record the games. And then, because sometimes, when the announcers get to saying certain things, I have to fast forward. Or if a player get hurt, I had to fast forward. And I can watch 4 or 5 games in about an hour and a half.
Just cut through all the BS, and you get through a game pretty quick.
Oh, that's I don't need all that.
So while I got you though, and you see that I'm in the Cowboys cave, I got all that. What's your thoughts on the Cowboys this season? Do you have any concerns? Are you feeling good about the season? Do you think they've made, they get a lot of heat for some of the moves they made in the offseason. What's your thoughts on the team?
Well, they've made some good moves. They got rid of some good guys. Messed themselves up to get out of the league. Some people run their mouth too much instead of just playing football.
Yeah.
But I've been watching number 73 there. He's going to have to come around and stop holding folks. They're going to have to iron out some things there.
Yeah.
And Dak, I think they're going to do fairly well. I'm hoping they do fairly. The defense is coming around, so I think they'll be in the running when the whistle blows.
Yeah, I love the defense. I think it's changing. The mentality is changing a little bit on that defense. Getting Parsons, being that leader there, and you've obviously got Diggs. You still got Tank. They're getting stronger up front. The offense, I love Dak. I just think his stories. I think everything about him. He's a winner, and it's just someone that you'd run through a wall for if you were playing. If you were a teammate of his. So I think the pieces are in place. I just wish sometimes my owner would kind of get out of the way and just let the coaches coach and let the players play and do all of that. But he can never help himself. You know that he can't help himself.
Yeah, if he step back, like I said, he can't help himself. He would step back and let them do their thing. But like I said, he's the owner.
Yeah.
That's right.
He has a right to do it. So, but anyway, I just wanted to, I want to thank you, Mr. Davis, for coming on, and it was just a great, obviously story, and it was kind of unique to find you and then share some of these things. And I would love to maybe have you on again during football season, talk a little bit about the Cowboys. I do a weekly show on Tag Nation Live with Jimmy D. Maybe even get you on and take some callers, have some fun. I'm sure you got some even more stories. So I just want to really thank you for your time today, and just say, hang on. I'll let you get some party shots, but when you're done, just hang on, because I'll catch you off the air as soon as I just do the ending as well.
Okay. Will do. My pleasure, baby.
All righty. I appreciate it. And that is it. We had the great Tommy Davis on, and got to hear some stories. Got to hear a little bit more. Got to hear a little bit more about maybe the Cowboys. I don't know if I was crazy about the Aggie talk. I'm gonna have to talk to him a little bit about that. We're gonna have to get him loving the U before it's all said and done. So, but until then, we'll be back live on Monday. We got our live call-in show with Jimmy D. I've worked out the phone, so again, I told you I'll get it taken care of. I'm a man of my word. So I will see you guys. If I don't see you before, maybe I'll pop in before the game, preseason game on Friday. I'll leave you with this. Just getting some love from the Cowboys. You guys take care. Have a good week. Have a good weekend.
Yo, this is Neville Gallimore from the Dallas Cowboys, and I want to give a major shout out to Mike Tag. Keep bringing the hype to the Cowboys Nation. We love and appreciate it. Now, can you dig it? Let's get